Well, this is the John H. Johnson tribute, and this generation is important to remember what John H. Johnson did, the fact that he came from Arkansas City. He founded Ebony Magazine, Jet Magazine. He became the first black entrepreneur on Forbes' wealthiest 400 people in America. So an extraordinary success story. And tonight we celebrate the fact that he is an Arkansan, the fact that he lived the American dream, coming from poverty, living through the great 1927 flood of the Mississippi River, and then getting an education and having an opportunity and using his creative talents to create one of the great publishing empires of his generation. And so that's an Arkansas success story, but it's really a story about the American dream that applies to everybody. And today, we should be reminded that the American dream is alive and can be attainable.
Absolutely. And talk a little bit about, I know this is the 20th anniversary of the John H. Johnson Museum. Just talk about, we're in a cool room here, but talk about some of the stuff that folks can see and what that is and what kind of place this is.
Well, of course, the John H. Johnson Museum is 20th anniversary for that. We celebrate his life and history. We want to make sure that he is remembered and his story is remembered. But if you come here to the Mosaic Cultural Temple, you will see Black history in Arkansas. And all of history is important, but Black history is important, played a very important role in the development of our state and the struggle in our state. And you can learn about it here. And I think we all want to know history, to learn from it, the good and the bad. But this is a celebration of Black entrepreneurs. It's a celebration of Black talent and people who have contributed to Arkansas and to our nation. You can see it right here.
Absolutely. And I want to change gears with you a little bit, like I said, ask you about some of the current happenings in the state and the country. Obviously, in a federal government shutdown right now. You were governor for a couple of those. What do people need to know about those? What can Arkansans expect from your experience? What are the things to know?
Well, of course, I was governor during the longest government shutdown in history. It was, I believe, 35 days. It started 3 days before Christmas, and that was not good for federal workers, but it's not good for the economy. I think what's important to remember is that it doesn't impact everybody, but it does impact some, and whenever that happens, it should be a concern. We want the federal government to be funded. We want it to go back to work. We want to have the services provided, whether it's the national park or whether it is making sure that TSA is paid on time for our security. And so it is important that Congress reach a deal where the government can be funded. It's sort of the fundamental point of Congress. And the Republicans have an extension there. I hope that it can be passed and the federal workers can go back and get paid.
Yeah, and I want to ask too, I saw that you posted about Senator Stubblefield when he passed away. And obviously I know that he had been against the Franklin County prison, which has been a big story. Governor Sanders has been big for the Franklin County prison. I wondered if you had any thoughts on that, just on what you've seen from afar and the handling of that situation.
Well, it's really a key point of contention whenever you have one part of the state that's fully opposed to the location of a prison, and then you have other parts of the state concerned about the cost of it. The fact that you haven't been able to get the appropriation bill passed for it. I think everybody agrees that we do need to have additional prison space, and whether it's through one particular location or whether it's through expansion of other locations, we need to have additional space. So we've got to trust those policy leaders, from the governor to the legislature, to work out that. But the longer it's delayed, then it's really, the inclination is to say, are there any other solutions? And so there is some urgency in it, and I hope that they can not only provide the space, but also provide the assistance that's needed for those in prison wanting to be trained as they come out to regain employment, to reduce recidivism. I know that's the goal that many of us have, including the governor.
Awesome. Just one or two more if you don't mind. Something I'm really curious to ask you about with that open seat now in District 26. It seems like the governor essentially pushed that election as far away as she could. Some in Franklin County say they're not happy about that because they want representation. You've been a governor. I don't know if you ever had to make any decisions like that, but I just wondered if you had thoughts on that, maybe how you would have handled the now open seat.
Well, there's always pressure to get a seat filled. That's why our Constitution provides for our representatives to have special election if they die in office, as Senator Stubblefield did, or there's some other reasons for the vacancy. And so there is urgency to get it filled. You've got to work with the governor because she has the discretion in order to set the election date. But the longer they go without representation is not good for our democracy. Certainly it's a disadvantage to those that want representation as you look at the physical session that will be coming up next year.
Absolutely. And last thing I can think of, I'll give you the chance to mention anything else at the end. But just the overall political climate in our country. I know you ran for president in 2024. There's been political violence lately, a lot of polarization. I just wondered, as someone who's been in politics, your thoughts on the overall political climate in our country and what you've noticed.
Well, it's important to remember that we've had times of division in our country before. And so we have a very resilient democracy. We have people who care about our democracy and want it to succeed. One thing I learned in traveling around the country running for President of the United States is people do care and they want success even though we might have disagreements. And so this is an unusual time. After the assassination of Charlie Kirk, I think you just have to be mindful of the healing words that Erica Kirk gave, in which she offered forgiveness. And that spirit of forgiveness, but also healing, is important. And the words are, we need to have the sense of community, the sense of faith. These are important in our lives, and that's what brings us together and heals our land. And I hope that that can be re-energized with the current challenges that we face in our country.
I'm sorry, I lied. I just thought of one more. What are you up to these days, post-governorship?
Well, thanks of all. First of all, I'm working. I'm having a great time. My wife Susan and I, we're having some fun. We're living up in Rogers, but we're also very engaged. I'm public speaking across the country. I'm doing some consulting, lawyering, and trying to make a difference as I have opportunity to do it. But very engaged, but you know, a lot of people think, well, did he go to Washington? Where'd he go? Listen, I'm right here in Arkansas. This is my home, and I continue to be engaged as I can.